Ernest Hemingway's war wounds. Hemingway was seriously wounded during World War I, which inspired elements of A Farewell to Arms. He carried shrapnel in his body for the rest of his life. Yes, that's correct. Ernest Hemingway's experience in World War I, where he served as a Red Cross ambulance driver on the Italian front and was seriously wounded by mortar fire in 1918, was a defining event in his life. This experience not only directly inspired A Farewell to Arms, but also profoundly shaped his perspective on war, bravery, trauma, and grace under pressure, themes that became central to many of his works. The physical wounds and psychological trauma of war are recurring elements in his fiction and his public persona. The impact of these wounds and Hemingway's war experience extends far beyond A Farewell to Arms. The iceberg. Style. The intensity and horror of what he saw are often cited as one of the reasons he developed his minimalist writing style, known as the iceberg theory. He believed that by omitting the most traumatic or emotional details and focusing on concrete actions and facts, the underlying weight and emotion, the submerged part of the iceberg, would become even more powerful. Recurring themes, war and its wounds, physical and psychological, introduced the central themes he would explore for the rest of his life. Trauma and disillusionment. The brutality of war shattered the romantic view of combat. His characters are often wounded in some way, struggling to find meaning in a world that has proven chaotic and violent. This is central to the lost generation. Grace under pressure. His famous ideal of grace under pressure stems directly from this experience. It's the idea that a man's true character is revealed not by the absence of fear or pain, but by how he carries himself and maintains his dignity despite fear and pain. Masculinity and bravery. Hemingway became obsessed with testing the limits of courage, both in his life, bullfighting, big game hunting, and in his fiction. This can be seen as a continual attempt to process and master the fear and trauma he experienced at such a young age in Italy. Influence on other works. Characters in other stories, such as Jake Barnes in The Sun Also Rises, whose war injury left him powerless, symbolizing the sterility and disillusionment of the post-war generation, or Robert Jordan in For Whom the Bell Tolls, carry echoes of this early experience. In short, the shrapnel he carried in his body was a constant physical reminder, but the psychological trauma of war was what fundamentally shaped the writer, his themes, and his distinctive style.